Alright, over here at the 12 o'clock, leading with the score of 1-0, we have the CJTrust player, Trust. And looks like Squirtle calls for a pause again, twice in a row. He actually did this in the earlier game. I wonder if he's having any issues with his computer lag or cross-server. Because I think he's over in Korea right now. I don't think he's over in America or Europe or anything like that. I might be wrong. No, because only what? Who's over in Europe right now? First, Real, Hyun, MC, and the MYI guys, MVP once in a while. Symbol might be over there as well. Actually, no, not Symbol. Somebody else. Trying to think. There's a few Korean players over in Germany right now as well. Okay, so looks like we are ready to go. Trust dropping the go yo. Go yo. I feel like the Korean like English vocabulary is like very heavily based off of like Korean pop for the most part. It feels like words like baby and yo. It's so funny, man. I love K-pop. K-pop is so damn funny. Alright. Down here at the bottom left side, I guess left side of the map, we could call it, over on Catalina, we have the teamless player. It is Squirtle. Gonna have to step his game up a little bit this time. I would expect him to maybe, just based off of that first game, to play a little bit more safer rather than going for a quick Blink Stalker play. It's very risky actually to go Blink Stalkers now. That's the funny part, because unless your opponent has plans of expanding, it's risky. You can't really truly push in and do a lot of damage because Photon Overcharge is going to deflect your attempt at an attack. You have to have a very significant numbers advantage. You're hoping that their buildings and their pylons are all within range or outside of the mothership core range. Or you're, like I said, you're hoping that they expanded. That way they're on the low ground so you have a chance to fight them. I don't know, it's just really tough. Double gas opener from Trust. Now on this map he could technically play almost very similar to as well if Trust wanted to. Again, he's got a game lead, so never hurts to maybe attempt to play a little bit risky himself. All you would have to do is just once again just place a pylon and a Stargate maybe right over here, or maybe over at the third base. Probably over here would be a little bit more safer, just due to the fact that it's not involved anywhere between the third areas. It's not close enough where it's over by this area either, so I don't know. I do in a sense find PvP very fascinating because it's one of those mirror matchups that's very volatile, very dependent on your build order, very dependent on your worker count. In TVT and ZVZ, I feel like not as much. Like you're able to get away with a little bit more in ZVZ. Like even though players say might go for like a quick speedling timing, you can still fend off with like Spine Crawler and just get out 3 queens while off the ramp. You still have an opportunity to pretty much defend. In PvP, you start getting that odd numbers game going and one person gets ahead. It's very hard to come back unless you have like with the Photon Overcharge deflecting and buying you time. It becomes very number game oriented. Now Trust dropping the Stargate once again over here. Squirtle scouting out. Let's see how long it's going to take him to spot the Stargate. Okay, he's gonna go down to the ball. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! Ah! Squirtle! Ah! Get over here! Come over to the left side of the map. No, he's gonna go down onto the low ground. I hope he goes back inside the base to check out. This is really bad because this might mess with him as well. Because, well, I mean, it might help him, but it might mess with him as well. Like this will mess with me. You scout out the same thing that you saw last game for the most part. So what you're going to be doing is either looking for proxies or you're going to be, once again, playing very over-defensive. Oracle's already underway. Oh, this is so bad right now. I feel so bad right now for Squirtle. Because that Oracle is going to pop out. As long as it doesn't get spotted by the Mothership Core or this Nexus too early, it's going to be able to fly within the main and get so much damage done. Like, Photon Overcharge can really only deflect so well. Squirtle dropping his own Stargate right now. Trust putting up a little bit of a forward pylon. Back at home, adding on a couple of gates, and that's another one of those things where the Photon Overcharge, he might be able to activate it within the main base, but all that means is if Squirtle, I mean, not sorry, Squirtle, if Trust follows this up with just an aggressive playstyle with a 3-gate Stargate or 3-gate Blink from what it might be, then how is he gonna play? How's he gonna win? All right, Photon Overcharge activated, will deflect the Oracle for the time being, but that is a long time now until he's got enough energy to be able to do anything with it again. Probe's still alive down here over on the bottom left side of the map. We'll see if he decides to put any additional pylons on up ahead. And, oh, spots the Nexus cancel. Very interesting. Look at all these mind games and this meta going on between both of these players. Phoenix coming out. So we're seeing some Phoenixes. This is very interesting. Of course, this is going to be able to deflect the Oracle if it does come in once again. But Oracle right now just flying around scouting. It's going to have enough time to regen some energy. Might be able to come back within the main base and get a little bit more damage done. Does have to be a little bit careful. Oh, as he flies in. Oh no, he gets spotted. The second Phoenix come out and he's going to get spotted. So he's going to just try to get as much damage as he can get done. One worker dead. Not going to be really that efficient. Trust, meanwhile, already dropped his expansion. Squirtle re-grabbing his. Blink, gonna be done here, hopefully within the next about 30 seconds. Forward pylon for Squirtle in position. He does have a couple Phoenixes, might be able to pick off a worker. Well, might get the mothership core. Nope. Too many stalkers in position and no workers or anything down here on the low ground to snipe down. Forge coming up next. Squirtle for now cutting out his Phoenix production, going to keep it to 2, and hopefully maybe this is going to throw his opponent off. Now Blink isn't finished yet, snipes down one worker. Hey, that's more than that's better than nothing, so might be able to swing around here to the natural and grab a couple more as well. Eventually, Trust will have to think about dropping that Robo, though, or the Templar Archives. He's going to need the Archons probably to deal and kind of progress through this game. One of the best units in PvP or any Protoss matchup generally is just to have Immortals now. Uh-oh, DT's coming through. Tries to force field off. Maybe catch them. Nope. Forgot about that proxy Dark Shrine down here. Well, of course, he doesn't technically now have to drop the Templar Archive. He could, of course, use the Dark Shrine to warp in some DTs and 4 Archons through them. But I do still feel like eventually at some point he will need to actually drop that Robo. Immortals are just too important to not have in the game. Once you get those plus upgrades, the Immortals can really decide to fight, can really carry the Protoss army to victory. Like I said, in any matchup, if you have them versus Zerg, if you have them versus Terran, if you have just, 3-4 just bobbling around with plus 3 upgrades, they could really do some serious damage. They could rip armies apart. And we watched it over the past couple days, especially in those PvPs, just how much of a difference they make. And especially if you combo them up with Archons. Archons can just soak up and tank up a lot of damage. Meanwhile, in the back, the Archons sit away and just kind of pot shot everything apart. So we'll see how the game progresses, though. I don't know. I'm starting to once again get a little bit more of an admiration for PvP. Part build order, but once again, very skill-based matchup. You have to make the correct decisions, the right tech paths, the right unit compositions. It's not exactly like if you're playing like TVT and it's Marine tank. Like you could go maybe a little bit heavier on Marines or a little bit heavier on tanks on how you feel. Usually you'll trade fairly even, and it comes down to more positioning. In PvP, it's more about unit composition, positioning, upgrades matter a little bit, but even then, those scenarios where you have a player that has what looks to be like a massive army, Deathball has like 6-7 Colossus, but then your opponent has that similar ground army, but instead of the Colossus he starts adding Tempest in, and the Tempest begin sniping everything down before they even become a part of the battle. So we'll see how the game develops and progresses. We see Colossus coming out on Squirtle's side. Meanwhile over here, Charge and +1 underway, plus some additional gates finishing up. Already 4 mortals out on the map for Squirtle. I like his position better. I will admit, I like his position better. Range upgrade, adding some additional gates. As I said, neither player looks like Trust just dropped down his 3rd Nexus right now. There's the forward pylon, so, if movements start happening, you could, of course, come out and double check this out and put a little bit of harassment on it. Well, the Phoenixes do spot it, so we'll see how early he wants to put some pressure on it. He could, of course, just do a little bit of a miniature warp in. Squirtle adding 3 additional gates, continues dropping those hallucinated Phoenixes to send out. Both players, actually. Hallucinations flying all over the map, man, getting the most information. Hey, nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong at all. Alright, Squirtle dropping his own third base. Starting at +2. Range just about done for the Colossus. Finally, we see that robotics bait coming down for Trust right now, and his +2 is about halfway done as well. Now that's a real Phoenix. That's going to get sniped down. But remember, this army is just heavy Charge Lot Archon right now. If, you know, it comes down to Charge Lot versus Charge Lot and the units behind them, I would always, I don't want to say always, but I would give a slight advantage to the Immortals. The Immortals just do so much damn damage. Their output is a lot more. Cannon in the back of the mineral line, of course, partially for detection and can help just in case anything flies through once again. Yeah, not too bad. You know, like I said, Squirtle's going to play a little bit more safe this game. There's no reason to be too aggressive. You need to make sure that you take this game to be able to force a game number 3. You rush it, you might find yourself in a little bit worse off of a position. Now, there is quite a bit of an army coming out right now, as we do see. It looks like a total of 4 Archons, some Blink Stalkers, and a lot of Charge Lots bobbling around under. But at the same time, you've got to be very careful as he presses on through. I don't know if this is an attack that Trust wants to take right now. He's a little bit down on supply, and there's already 3 Colossus, a lot of Immortals. Oh, this is definitely not a fight he wants to take. He's got to be very careful, yeah. Now, the one advantage Trust does currently have, he has +2 finished up, but you know, if he gets some time right now, he's already chronoing out double Robo Colossus. He's got the range underway as well, and he'll easily actually catch up on the Colossus count. And once the Colossus count actually catches up, that's when I might be a little bit worried, because the thing that's going to happen is the ground army is not going to be as good, at least in terms of Zealots or stuff that could buffer. So he's going to be able to clear them out a lot quicker. Then the Archons are going to move forward to tank, and if the Charge Lots start getting surface area on the units like Immortals, that's when you have some serious issues. Because even though the Immortals, they put out a lot of damage, you got to watch out, man. The Charge Lots will nullify them, and they'll aggro all the fire from them. All right, first 2 Colossus out, 2 more Colossus underway, +3 upgrades for Trust. Trust making sure to keep with it, man. He wants to make sure he's got the proper composition to fight. I actually got to give him props, because a lot of players will overreact. A lot of players will go for an attack or attempt an attack a little bit too early. Trust, realizing, scouting out his opponent's composition, realized that it was a little bit too soon and it wasn't one that he really wanted to take. Now, he might lose a couple units here, trailing back. He's got to be very careful. He doesn't want to fight just yet. He needs a little bit more time. The 2 Colossus are almost out. He needs just a little bit more time. Activates Photon Overcharge. Drops some hallucinations. Charge Lots coming in from the left side to help out. Ground Army getting wiped right now by Squirtle. Squirtle slowly breaking on through. And now it's Colossus and Immortals beaming away out the additional units. But here we go. Those reinforcing units coming through right now. The Blink Stalkers are still alive. He's going to try to head on forward. There is no charge on the Zealots, so they are just walking meat basically for the most part. There are still a few Immortals underhand right now, still walking through, and now the ground army is cleared out by Squirtle. The Colossus are naked. Some of the Charge Lots are trying to walk up, but how much time are they going to realistically have? The Immortals are still alive. More Charge Lots now getting sent in and reinforced now. He doesn't want to walk up to the Photon Overcharge. It's kind of silly, but good engagement right there from Squirtle. Trust just taps out, calls GG, because yeah, exactly. That's what would have happened at this point. Templars would have warped in, Archons would have been formed, a new set of just shield units for those Colossus in a sense, and just that Colossus count would have